I was in Chicago this past week with about 100 priests, and I was sharing my story with one priest, and he said, so you played Division I college golf, and do you have any siblings? What did they do? I have one brother, and what did he do? He played Division I college football. He said, wow, you must have a really athletic family. I said, no, it's just my mother. It's just my mother. To explain my answer why it's just my mother, I have a rose. Like this rose, it was just a seed one day that was planted in the soil. Me as well, I was a little one planted in the seed of my mother's garden. And she knew that to bring forth this life, it would involve a lot of sacrifice. A lot of time, a lot of sacrifice. But as a mother, she knew it was worth it. It was worth it. And after 9 months, I came forth, and there were a lot of thorns. A lot of thorns. Both thorns of life, because life can be painful. It is. And also thorns I caused her. But she knew that it was worth it. Because like a mother, she saw there was great potential in me. That one day she had great hope that I would come forth into something beautiful for God. And so my mother became my number one cheerleader. When I fell in love with the game of golf and I had bad days, she was always there to cheer me on. Because it was worth it for her. She saw potential in me. And when I wanted to travel around North America to play golf, she gave up her career and she became my full-time Uber driver, my full-time chauffeur, full-time travel agent, you name it. She made so many sacrifices because it was worth it. She knew there'd be a lot of thorns. But it wasn't about the thorns, it was about the rose. She saw beautiful potential in me. And she was willing to lay down her life because it was worth it for her. And when I went off to university and I rebelled and lived this crazy lifestyle, she continued to sacrifice herself every Sunday morning. Are you going to church today? No response. Constantly sacrificing her life in any way possible because she thought it was worth it. Because that's what mothers do. They live lives of sacrificial love. And when you love someone, sacrifice is taken for granted. That's just what love is. It's just what love does. And so she continued to sacrifice herself day in, day out. And I believe that God allowed her to get cancer because that was part of the sacrifice she had to pay for the salvation of my soul to get me to become a priest. And I'm sure there's thousands of other sacrifices that I am not aware of, but God sees every single one of the thorns that she endured because it was worth it. And yesterday I got to reflect upon all of the sacrifices and imagine what it would have been like for all the sacrifices that she had to undergo. And it started to fill my heart up with gratitude. And today on Mother's Day is a beautiful opportunity for us to fill our hearts up with gratitude for one mother all of us share. We are at her family table right now. Mother Church, the Catholic Church. This is a mother that often goes forgotten. This is a mother that it is the one mother it's popular to say bad things about her. This is a mother who's endured a lot of thorns because it's worth it for her. It's worth it to sacrifice her life for her children. And every single person here is a child of Mother Church. And she has continually sacrificed her life, laid down her life, given everything. I've been to confession probably 250 times. Every single time, I forgive you 100%. I've been to Mass probably 1,000 times every single Mass. I give you everything. I give you the best food I have to offer. That's what Mother does. A life of sacrificial love. So many thorns. But Mother Church sees the potential in me, and she sees the potential in every single one of you. And so regardless of whether you are sleeping right now or whether you are on fire, Mother Church is going to give you everything. And every time you go to confession, she's going to forgive you entirely. Every Mass you go to, she's going to give her whole life to you, because that's what Mother Church does. But she doesn't just want you to be grateful and say thank you. That's not enough. After a whole day reflecting upon my mother's sacrificial love for me, I called her last night. I said, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? Because when you really realize love that's been given to you, you want to respond. You want to make a response of yourself. You want to say, I want to give myself to. When you receive sacrificial love, you want to give sacrificial love. You want to do what you can to make a response. That's what Jesus did. He said, how can I help? Look at the cross. You see what's on his head? A crown of thorns. How can I help? Let me take all those thorns away from you. Let me do my part. I want to respond. And Mother Church hopes that her children today can realize the abundant love that she's offering each one of her children. Every single day, she'll love you 100%, 100%, 100%. Because she hopes that we can realize the love that's being offered to us and say, I want to respond. How can I help? What can I do? Often, though, when you ask a mother, she says, oh, it's okay. And so if you're really smart, what you do is you ask the husband, you ask dad, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? What can I do for mother? And if a dad's aware, he knows what to get mother. Last week, Father Hamilton introduced the Corpus Christi magazine, in which it shows stories of children of Mother Church who have responded. How can I help? And there are beautiful stories here. Every story is like a rose in which Mother Church saw potential in this person. And it's a beautiful story, and I invite you to read this magazine. Read the stories and see the sacrifice that Mother Church offered to her children, and then the beautiful story that came about. Mother Church wants this magazine to be 10,000 pages full, and every single child here to be able to say, how can I help? Well, here's what I've done. I've received love. This is how I've given love. That's what Mother Church wants of her children. And so, we can ask Mother Church ourselves in prayer, how can I help? And that's a great question. I invite you after Holy Communion to ask, how can I help? But sometimes it's hard to listen to Mother, and sometimes she's silent. So, what do? You ask the father of the family. Well, Father Hamilton's going to be giving very clear invitations next week of how you can help. How you can help. Because this church should be 10 times as full. There are so many children in which Mother Church invited every single one of her children to a meal. So many children who are not here. And that breaks her heart. A lot of thorns. And so what can I do? How can I remove a thorn? How can I help? How can I help? How can I help?